Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots, you know, the actions you can take, how your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. National Fruit Cocktail Day. Now, I don't know if this is the one, and I don't even know if they still do this. Okay, Josh's looks a lot better than what I was thinking here. I'm thinking of that. Those little cans. I don't even know if they still have. Josh, they still have these things, the little cans where the kids pull the pop top and they take them for lunch. Yeah, they have that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about when we were talking about this. Hey, good morning. Dave Silva's with us today. Yes. Okay. So Josh, it's a plastic. Wait a second, Josh. You can't have plastic nowadays, can you? I guess it's probably safer than those metal cans that had those pull off the ring on there. But it is National Fruit Cocktail Day, and today's also National Apple Pie Day. Now, I don't get this one, Apple Pie Day. Wouldn't you think of that like on July 4th for apple pie, or something to do with maybe the start of the baseball season for apple pie? Where do you get your best apple pies? No, that's not the question of the day. We'll get to the question of the day here in a minute. But where are you getting the best apple pies? And I have a friend of mine that goes down to Julian and brings back apple pies. Oh, they are the best. I think it's Julian Pie Company is, I think, the name of the company. Julian Pie Company down there. Nancy, Kentucky. Okay, that's where you're gonna get the best apple pie, Dave. Okay. Hey, you know something? Put it in there. And let's take a look. I know we had a question of the day. Okay, what movie could you watch every day? What movie could you watch every day? I'm old. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share with you my favorite. It's the original Brian song. And that goes, what's that back in the, I don't even know when that came out. When did Brian's song come out, Josh? The original. It was a long time ago. I'm not sure about the date on that one, but yeah, it was, and you know something, it's still a classic. What movie could you watch? I guess I can't even spell, Josh, and I'm glad you just copied what I put in there. Could maybe Could. I forgot that part. What movie could you watch every day? But we really want to say could you watch? I mess up and Josh copied me. But at least I'll take the hit for that one because I did mess it up. What movie could you watch every day? I would say that Brian's song was mine, and Rocky. Okay, Dave, that's a good one. Rocky's a good one. Is there any specific Rocky number? I think there's 15, 20 of those Rocky movies out there. The other one, Top Gun. I like Top Gun. The original again. I'm still going with the originals. Okay, I guess I better get on to see what's going on in the news today, being that we're continuing on with our journey around this morning. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is now up 2.5 points. Is down 3.14. S&P 500 is up 2.5. The Nasdaq is up 51. Oil up 58 cents per barrel, and the 10-year Treasury, that one is down just a little bit, about almost 2 basis points, 4.486. So we might see. We'll find out about it in the Mortgage Minute here in just a little bit. But we might find out that we've got a little bit better interest rates coming out on home loans. I saw this article that came out this morning, and it might have been just that it was an advertisement. How to retire on $500,000. And I just started laughing when I saw the article because I'm not sure you can retire on $500,000. But I did see another article that came out earlier on News Nation, put out an article attributed to AARP, which I'm not a fan, but 12% of retired Americans will go back to work this year, says Resume Builder. Unretired workers usually must make do with lower paying jobs. Many are taking gig economy jobs like Uber and DoorDash. Why are they doing this? Because of inflation. They can't afford to continue. Their numbers just aren't cutting it. So, they're worried. And I can understand with good cause. There's a lot of the seniors are worried about where the money's coming from. And I just saw another article. You're going to love this one. You are here in Southern California. And think about this. The article says, this is out of the Sacramento Bee, that California is looking to increase gas taxes by another 50 cents a gallon. Ow! Now, let's just take a look at gasoline. $5.29 is the average for the state of California. $3.62 is the average nationwide. I go and I look, $3.07 is the lowest priced gasoline in the country. That's in Mississippi. So let's think about this. We're already over $2 a gallon higher than the lowest price in the country, and our state is thinking about adding another 50 cents a gallon. Any idea why? Well, I can probably tell you. They want to push us out of traditional gasoline. That's the whole idea right there. They want to move us toward wanted to push us toward the electric vehicles. Although the state doesn't have enough electricity, so try and figure that one out. We're coming into the summer months, and we're going to all be struggling just to air condition our houses. Yet we're going to have to worry about getting more electric gas cars out there. Just amazing with this state. And did you see the article that came out in the New York Times talking about how much cheaper it is to rent versus own real estate? The problem is the individual that did the article doesn't really understand real estate too well. They prove that because they're comparing a $500,000 house to a $2,000 rental. Well, guess what? A $500,000 house is more closely associated with a $3,400 a month rental. So maybe their numbers are off just a little bit. If you want to see what exactly for any given address or any given zip code in the country, we can give you a rent versus own analysis at no cost to you. We've got the tools on our desktops here. So feel free at any time. We'd be happy to get you a rent versus own analysis. And yes, we put everything that we can possibly think of in there. Forecasted appreciation for that area, rent in that area, cost of selling the property in that area after a given period of time, cost of acquisition, property taxes, maintenance, increases in rent for that given area. We put it all in there, and we come up with a number. I don't know what the number is going to say, but in most areas we find that it's still, even in today's market, it is still better off for somebody to buy a property than it is for them to rent the property. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, home prices are climbing in the top 10 cities. How are FICO scores calculated? We'll talk about that. how to get something off of your credit report and more. Reach me anytime off air. Number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down. Sure, we might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, I guess I should tell you, the Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, I did do another scenario, another simulation this weekend on the Home Select program. It was 2.7% on the 30-year loan, 2.7% effective APR on a 30-year loan. No wonder why people are still not calling as often as they should on that. But hey, you know something? I will keep evangelizing it because I like saving people money. Every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide, 30-year. These are all the rates that were locked on Friday. They do not tell us points paid, points received. They tell us the number that you put into your mortgage calculator. And if you don't have a mortgage calculator, ronismylender.com, ronismylender.com. You can download our mobile app. Costs nothing to you, and there is a mortgage calculator right there. 30-year conforming loan, 7.045. Those were up just a slight bit on Friday. I'm sorry, they were down just a slight bit. 30-year jumbo. You know, it's amazing. I look at it, it's a separate screen. Josh puts it right there for me in living color. 30 years, the 30-year conventional down 7.045. The 30-year jumbo fixed 7.184, up a little bit. FHA 30-year 6.779, that was up. USDA 6.802, that's the rural areas. Generally no down payment, that was up. VA loans 30-year fixed, that was up 6.669. That obviously is the best loan on the market for those that earned it. If you want our market thoughts, our market commentary every morning as early as the data allows, rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. We don't spam you. Just go right there, sign up. We send out one email a day. That's it. Just giving you our thoughts on the market, on what's going on. So we share that commentary with you. That's all of the older data. The Market Minute is today's data. But what's happening today? Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing as I speak to you right now. The 10-year, the S&P 500 first. That's up 1.53. Well, everything's waiting for Wednesday's news, but we'll continue looking at it. 10-year Treasury's down 2 basis points, 4.48 is the yield, the interest rate on that one, 4.48. And we are going to be coming out, for those that want it, for a safe, secure 8 or 10% yield on a securitized product. Might be something of interest. If you have an interest, give us a call. We'll put you in touch with the right folks for that. And we've got the mortgage-backed securities. Those are up 8 basis points. That when the bond goes up, the yield or the rate itself goes down. So that bond is up a little bit. Interest rates are down as we speak right now. What's driving all of this? Well, I already told you that, the first thing we had was the New York Times. But consumer confidence, University of Michigan released their consumer confidence report for May, showing that confidence dropped sharply from 77.2 to 67.4, well below estimates of 76.2, and the weakest reading in 6 months. Also, a big drop in spending intentions across the board. This coincides with the weakening consumer story we discussed last week. Pandemic savings are gone. Personal savings is at the lowest level in years, and consumer credit appears to be exhausted. New methods like buy now, pay later also coming under duress, where 43% that use it are delinquent. And now the University of Michigan is reporting that consumers are not feeling good about the economy and their finances. 1 year inflation expectations rose from 3.2% to 3.5%, while the longer term expectations rose 0.1 to 3.1. Big factor here was expectations for higher gasoline prices. Wow, they must have been looking at our report for California recently.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Unbelievable with the gasoline prices, right? Let's see what else we have here. The employment component fell by a large 15-point, and that matches the softest read since April 2011. Almost 40% of consumers now anticipate that unemployment rates will rise in the next year, rising 8 points from the previous report. The University of Michigan said this surge is unusually large, about double the size of the typical month-to-month change, suggesting that consumer views on labor markets have materially changed in May. This is important as the latest jobs data, initial jobless claims data, have started to show weakness, with the unemployment rate rising to 3.9%. Remember, it jumped to 4.2%, would likely cause the Fed to change their tone on rate cuts. Income expectations components was down by 6 points to the lowest level since 2014. Producer price index, that's going to come out tomorrow. That is a component of some of the other numbers that the Federal Reserve watches. So all of that data is what we're really looking at right now to see where this market is heading. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Don't forget about the Home Select, rsrhomeselect.com. We've done a few broadcasts about that recently. And why do we spend so much time talking about the one product? Well, it's because it's one of the, if for those that qualify, it is a very, very unique product. The Home Select is something that is proprietary to our friends at Geneva Financial. And I very rarely ever see where our 30-year loan is going to take more than 6 to 8 years to pay off. And the interest rates are just so exciting. You know, when you start thinking right now where I said, what, a 7.04 or whatever the number was just a little bit ago was the average for the numbers last week. Well, and these are under 3 almost all the time. And if you have a larger income, I did one the other day. The person I was showing it to almost fell off his chair because he was looking at a 0.53 effective interest rate, 0.53 effective interest rate. And just because of his income and the amount of money that he doesn't use, if we used it strategically here, not only he'd be starting his loan at 9%. Think about that. So you start out your loan at the highest, one of the higher numbers available. It is adjustable every month. But then you take a look at it and you say, okay, well, it's going to be paid off in a year and a half. And you still have access to all the equity in your home, or the majority of the equity in your home. Just a fascinating product. But let's take a look and see what's going on in the world today. Rising home prices continue to fuel growth, growing home equity. And think about this concept, especially as the market tightens right now. Our economy contracts right now. Every place we look, we're seeing issues where things are getting tighter and tighter. One of my favorite individuals that I'm following with economics right now, Danielle DiMartino Booth, she puts out a letter every morning. And I will share with you, we're one of the few places that I believe you can go just to get the straight data. You might like it, you may not like it, but we share the data with you. And most of the time it's becoming from sources that we have to pay for. It's not that we can go to different free sources on the internet and find these things, but most of them are coming from sources that we're paying for. California, according to Danielle DiMartino in her latest article, significant portion of the unemployed resides in California. Concerns are mounting. Nationally, expectations for rising unemployment are growing, reflecting a cautious or even pessimistic outlook for the near future. Think about that one. Real estate market, particularly in Phoenix and Florida, shows signs of shifting, which could influence housing costs and rental prices soon. So she came out with this report and is just telling us, hey, something, be careful. Now, why do I bring that up? Why do I bring up the concept of be careful? Well, as a lender, we never ever lend money to people that need money. We lend money to people that want money. We lend people that have either a good job or they have money in the bank. We lend money to people who have good credit scores. We lend money to people who are looking to buy a house but have a track record. That's where we're lending money to. As the market tightens, as the market contracts, we saw last week that the manufacturing in Indiana, California, and Texas, the three largest in the country, as far as Indiana is the largest per capita, just in sheer numbers, California and Texas are the largest manufacturing areas. Well, the manufacturing is declining. Does that not lead one to believe there could be job cuts coming? Now, if you've got a lot of equity in your home, and we've talked about this before, that people have a lot of equity in their homes. If you have a lot of equity in your home, do you think you're going to be able to access that equity if you lose your job? Well, if you sell your house, and then what are you going to do? It's kind of hard to rent someplace or buy something else if you don't have a job. So the idea here is you look at the Home Select product, rsrhomeselect.com. Look at that product and protect your family. Now, how does a loan protect your family? Well, here's the idea. Whatever you can qualify for becomes your loan limit, whether you owe it or not. What's that mean? Well, I was chatting with somebody last week, and they have a house worth $625,000. If they qualify for a $500,000 loan and they owe on this property, they owe, let's use a rough number of $150,000. Well, if they qualified for $500,000, that's what their initial line amount would be, but they'd only have a loan for $150,000. 500 less 150. That's $350,000 is what's left available on their line of credit. What do you do with that? Well, if you don't have a job, what happens is the interest on your loan just comes right out of that line of credit. So you're not going to have to make a mortgage payment. You're going to still be able to feed your family. Yes, you'll probably be on unemployment, so you'll get a little bit of money. When that money comes in, you put it right into this Home Select product because that brings the interest down on the amount of money owed. So you're saving interest expense. So Ron, I need to eat. I get it. Write a check. Use your debit card from this line of credit. You've got $350,000 as a safety net for you and your family. Now, hopefully, you'll either get a new job before you exhaust that, or you'll get retrained and then get a new job before you exhaust that. Remember, we spoke to Damian Weston last Thursday, I believe he was on. And you can go into ronsiegelradio.com and look in the radio show archives. I think it's the first tab, the radio show archives. That show is right there. Damian Weston is showing people exactly how to get retrained for jobs that are paying, well, one of them was $50,000 a year. One of them was $40,000 a year. Another one, if you wanted to go into sales, was $90,000 a year. All different jobs. That may not be what you like to do, but do you like being unemployed? Do you like being homeless? Do you not like not being able to support your family? Go look at those things. We're giving you solutions when you tune into Ron Siegel Radio. That's the whole concept here. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, home prices are climbing in these top cities. How to get something off your credit report. How are FICO scores calculated, and more. Reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1065. 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Hey, don't forget, if you haven't taken the quiz yet, First Home IQ quiz, that's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ, rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. We're going to give away at the end of the month for those that have taken the quiz. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to buy anything. Take the quiz, complete it, and we're going to give away a trip to Nashville at the end of the month for those that have completed the quiz. rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. We don't pay the transportation taxes or fees, but 4 days, 3 nights, Nashville, rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Home prices are climbing in these top cities. Think about buying a home or selling your current one to find a better fit? If so, you might be wondering what's going on with home prices these days. Here's the scoop. Latest national data from Case Shiller and the Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA, shows they're going up. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of the socials with ABC News and Talk, AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing a chart, percentage change in home values if you're watching that. Love those charts. As you can see, home prices were rising for most of 2023, but over the course of December and January, they were virtually flat. Pretty normal for that time of year. But here's what you need to know. As of February, when the spring market kicked off, prices were on the rise again. Home prices are going up in most of America's top cities after seeing a jump in home prices nationally in February. You might be wondering if they're going up in your area too. While it depends on where you live, prices are rising in 18 of the top 20 cities. Case Shiller reports on the monthly price index. Another chart. Prices rising again. 18 of the top 20 cities. Percentage of appreciation. Do we have any in LA? 1.1%. San Diego, 1.7%. San Francisco, 1.7%. Most experts are also saying home prices will keep rising and end the year on a high note. Forbes explains why. Quote, even as mortgage rates have reached their highest level since November, persistent demand coupled with limited housing supply are key drivers pushing home price values upward, unquote. How this impacts you? If you're a buyer, if you're ready, willing, and able to buy a home, purchasing before prices go up even more might be a smart choice since home values are expected to keep climbing. For sellers, prices are going up because there still aren't enough homes available for sale right now compared to today's buyer demand. So if you work with an agent to price your house right, you might receive multiple offers and sell quickly. If you want to know the values of properties and what's happening in your zip code, go to rsrlinks.com/market report, rsrlinks.com/market report. No spaces in there. rsrlinks.com/market report. You can get the statistics of what's going on in any city or any zip code in the country. Our friends over at Altos Research track every home for sale every week. And just to give you an idea, I'm looking at 92807. That would be one of the Anaheim Hills zip codes. what the data shows, median list price, it says $1,375,000. New listings, $949,950. There are a whopping 19 single-family homes for sale. Not a whole lot of inventory in the zip code. Last week there was 17, the week before 25. So not a lot of inventory available. The median rent, $5,375. It is a seller's market. And that's that's just a portion of the data that comes to you when you go to rsrlinks.com, rsrlinks.com/market report. Again, totally free to you. And there's 3,007 zip codes, I believe it is, in the United States. You can get all of them. rsrlinks.com/market report. That is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Let's take a look at one of our Your Credit Matters segment today, being brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. And want to talk to you, how are FICO scores calculated? And this is part of the information coming out from our friends. Now, we get this from myfico.com, but it is also one of the data points that our friends over at First Home IQ use all the time. And again, take that quiz. It's a First Home IQ, rsrlinks.com/FHIQ, rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. Go and take that quiz. It only takes a few minutes. What is my FICO score? Calculated using many different pieces of credit data in your credit report. The data is grouped into 5 categories. Payment history, that's 35% of your score. Amounts owed, 30%. Length of credit, 15%. New credit, 10%. Credit mix, 10%. Let's dig deeper. So the FICO score is considered both positive and negative information in your credit report. The percentages that we just talked about reflect how important each of the categories is in determining how your FICO scores are calculated. The importance of these categories may vary from one person to another. We'll cover that in a minute. The importance of credit categories varies by person. Your FICO scores are unique, just like you, calculated based on the 5 categories that we talked about. But for some people, the importance of these categories can be different. For example, scores for people who have not been using credit long will be calculated differently than those with a longer credit history. In addition, as the information in your credit report changes, so does the evaluation of these factors in determining your FICO scores. Your credit report and FICO scores evolve frequently. Because of this, it's not possible to measure the exact impact of a single factor in how your FICO score is calculated without looking at the entire report. Even the levels of importance shown in the FICO scores chart are for general population and may be different for different credit profiles. Your FICO scores only look at information in your credit report. Your FICO score is calculated only from that information. However, lenders may look at many things when making a credit decision, such as your income, how long you have worked at your current job, and the kind of credit you are requesting. What do FICO scores ignore? They don't look at your income because it's not part of your FICO score. What's on the report? Well, only that which is reported, but it must be complete, it must be accurate, it must be verifiable. If it is not complete, accurate, and verifiable, it must be removed. So let's look at the different categories. Payment history, 35%. The first thing to remember that any lender wants to know is whether you've paid past credit accounts on time. This helps a lender figure out the amount of risk it will take when extending credit. This is the most important factor in your FICO score. Amounts owed, 30%. Having credit accounts and owing money on them does not necessarily mean you're a high-risk borrower with a low FICO score. However, if you are using a lot of your available credit, this may indicate that you are overextended, and banks can interpret this to mean that you are a higher risk of defaulting. Remember, manage this correctly. Go to rsrccpayment.com, rsrccpayment.com, and you can find out how to pay your credit cards the right way for FICO for credit utilization and FICO scoring purposes. How do you calculate your credit utilization? Simply divide the amount owed by the credit limit. $1,000 owed, $2,000 limit. That's a 50% utilization. Not going to be the best results for you. Do it again. $1,000 owed, $10,000 limit, 10% utilization. That's going to be an enhancement to your score. $9,000 owed on a $10,000 card, 90% utilization. That's going to have a negative impact on your FICO score. Moving on. Length of credit history, 15%. In general, having a longer credit history is a positive for your FICO scores, but is not required for a good credit score. Your FICO scores take into account how long your credit accounts have been established, including the age of your oldest account, the age of your newest account, and an average age of all of your accounts. How long specific credit accounts have been established, how long it's been since you used certain accounts. Again, we show you how to make sure you keep your credit cards and your trade lines active. rsrccpayment.com, rsrccpayment.com. Credit mix, 10%. FICO scores are going to consider that your mix of credit cards, retail accounts, installment loans, finance company accounts, and mortgage loans. Don't worry, it's not necessary to have one of each. Ideally, credit mix, 1 mortgage, 2 installment, 3 credit card. Not precise, but just an idea for you. New credit. This is the only one people talk to me about when they call. It only accounts for 10% of your score. I don't want you to run our credit, Ron, because it's going to hurt my credit score. It only accounts for 10% of your score. Your score ranges from 300 to 850. That's 550 points. This only accounts for 55 at the most. 850 less 550 less 55. Let's see, that comes out to 795. Excellent, excellent credit score. So it's not the most important part. It's the least important. Research shows that opening several credit accounts in a short amount of time represents a greater risk, especially for people who don't have a long credit history. So again, different items there for you. That's how FICO scores are calculated. And again, 2 different resources in there if you want to get them on here. rsrccpayment.com, rsrccpayment.com, and also take the first home IQ quiz, rsrlinks.com, rsrlinks.com/FHIQ. That is Your Credit Matters, brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. When we come back, home prices, I think we already did that one. How to get something off your credit report, how medical debt can impact your credit score, and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron's Our Solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. How to get something off your credit report. To remove an item from your credit report, you can dispute it with the credit bureaus, providing evidence if necessary and follow up until it's resolved. Alternatively, you may negotiate with the creditor directly to settle the debt in exchange for its removal from your report. According to the Federal Trade Commission, around 1 in 5 people have errors on their credit reports. There's a 1 in 5 chance that errors are on your report, are dragging your score down unfairly, which can end up costing you thousands of dollars. Luckily, You have the right to review your credit reports and challenge inaccurate items. Here's how to get something off your credit report. And I'm going to challenge that statement that came out of the report as well. I've never ever seen a credit report that's completely accurate. They say 1 in 5 have errors. I think, my opinion, 5 in 5 have errors. I've never seen one again that's completely accurate. How to challenge an inaccurate item on your credit report. Remember, nothing has to be on your credit report. But the law says that anything that is on your credit report, I'm not an attorney, the law says anything on your credit report must be complete, it must be accurate, and it must be verifiable. How to challenge an inaccurate item on your credit report? Your right to a free and accurate credit report is protected by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Under the Act, if you challenge an item on your credit report and the creditor or credit reporting agency cannot verify the item's accuracy, the Act requires the unverified item be removed from your report. It's got to either be confirmed or removed, one or the other. The Act gives bureaus and data furnishers 30 days to investigate and inform the consumer of their findings. That time can extend to 45 days under certain circumstances. The actual time frame depends on many factors, including postal mail timing. It's not always as simple as it sounds, though. Check out the tips and information that we share on our website all the time. How credit report errors occur? Credit report errors can occur for many reasons. Here are some of the common ones. Mixed files. If someone with the same name or similar name applies for credit, a piece of their file can become mixed with your file. A consumer with a common name such as John Smith or John B. Smith or John Smith Jr. Those are all things that are very, very common. They can get mixed up on the reports. Identity theft. If someone has stolen your social security number, they can open a new account in your name. This information appears on your credit report and can be particularly difficult to remove. Furnisher errors. Furnishers are banks, debt collectors, and others that report the information that shows up on your credit report. A clerical error or data issue with the furnisher can mean an error getting passed on to your credit report. Re-aging of old debts. Certain debts are supposed to age off your credit report within a certain amount of time. Re-aging can occur when a debt is sold to a third-party collector and the start date on the debt's clock is muddied and appears to be a new debt. It may even appear twice on the report from the original debtor and the debt collector. This can cause your credit to take a hit for much longer than it should. That's inaccurate. That must be corrected. How fast can you clean up your credit report? The length of time it takes to clean up your credit report depends on the number and type of issues you have. In many cases, you may be able to notice improvements to your credit score in just a few months. However, it could take several years to fully restore your credit. Bad credit issues such as late or missed payments and defaults can remain on your credit report up to 7 years in most cases. However, bankruptcies can remain on your account for up to 10 years. Ultimately, these negative items can affect your credit scores. Fortunately, most credit scoring models place a higher weight on current debt. So as you continue to improve your credit habits, your score can continue to rise. Removing errors from your credit report typically takes less time. The law requires credit reporting agencies to investigate all consumer debts. They have 30 days to complete this investigation, another 5 days to provide you with a written explanation of their findings. If the credit card reporting agency finds in your favor, it can take an additional 30 days to fully remove the debt from your report. How can you clean up your credit report? Number one, review your report for errors. I suggest cleanall3.com, cleanall3.com. You can get a true FICO report, FICO score, and it gives you all the data from your report. First step, review the report. Errors on credit reports often occur more frequently than you might think. So it's important to examine your credit report for errors. You can obtain one free credit report each week from the credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Doesn't give you the scores. It just gives you the report. All the good information. Create a list of errors. You must challenge each item separately with the credit bureau that issued the report. You cannot make a blanket challenge for everything wrong on your report in one letter. Say, for example, you have 2 collection accounts that you want to challenge on the same credit report. You have to file 2 separate challenges. If the items needing verification are for the same account, 2 late payments on your mortgage, for example, you only need to file 1 challenge to request verification of late payments. You do need to specify that you want both of the late payments removed, however. When you finish reviewing your credit reports, take stock of all the items you want challenged, This can help you decide if you want to handle the credit repair yourself or work with a service like our friends over at Blue Water Credit. rsrlinks.com/BWC. Blue Water Credit. rsrlinks.com/BWC. Remember, do not push that dispute item on their website. That's the lazy way and doesn't get anything corrected, or very little. Number 3, gather supporting documentation. Once you know what you need to challenge, you need to gather documentation to support your claim that the items are inaccurate. The more evidence you have, the stronger your case will be. In some instances, it may be hard to determine what kinds of evidence are needed. For example, an identity theft victim may not know that they need to provide or to show that they did not open an account. If you have reason to believe you are the victim of identity theft, warning signs include mysterious addresses and accounts you never signed up for. Number 4, write a dispute letter. This is the next step. Dispute letters. When writing the letter, you be sure to be as specific as possible. Include your contact information along with all relevant information about the dispute, such as the item it's disputing, why you believe it's incorrect, and all backup documentation you're providing. Also, clearly state that you want this inaccurate information removed from your credit report as quickly as possible. Before submitting your request, be sure to make copies of all the documents you're sending along. Do not send your original documents, only submit copies, because you may have a hard time getting the documents back. When you're sending those out, make sure you include a copy of your driver's license, your social security card, and a utility bill with your name and address on it. Include all of those so they know it's you sending this in. Otherwise, they'll send you a note saying, I don't think it's you. Bureaus. My opinion, they make more money keeping your score low, so they've got a vested interest. Number 5, watch your claim results. Credit reporting agencies have up to 30 days from the date they receive your dispute letter to complete a full investigation. If they find your claim to be frivolous, it could take less time to receive a response. No matter what their decision is, credit reporting agencies have 5 days from the completion of the investigation to communicate it. You should receive this in writing. If the credit reporting agency determines that your issue is not an error, no other action will be taken. However, you do have the right to file another complaint. If they agree the issue is an error, they must remove or correct the information from your report. Number 6, work with a credit reporting agency. Again, Blue Water Credit, rsrlinks.com/BWC is the company that I have the most faith in. If the credit reporting agencies decline your dispute, or you're having trouble knowing how to dispute credit report errors, work with a credit repair agency that might be the way to go. Credit monitoring. Again, that's cleanall3.com, cleanall3.com. Send your dispute letters, send them with some return receipt requested so you know that they got it. You can also, if it is something that's legitimate, you can talk to the creditor and ask them to make a goodwill deletion. You can just simply ask them, I've had a great record with you guys. I did miss this one. It came in a couple days late. Would you mind giving me a break here and take it off my report? Even though sometimes they'll say they cannot, they always can do it. Or you might have to just wait out the statute of limitations. For most credit issues, 7 years, bankruptcies, 10 years. Medical debt is the one exception to the rule. Once you pay the medical debt in full, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, remove it from your credit report. That is Your Credit Matters, brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. And as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. As always, we thank you. Dave, thanks for piping in. Thanks for sticking with us today. We always appreciate that. As always, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.